Hey, good morning. Yes, we did. We made it. Today is Friday, the 10th of October. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about this is the time of year that you start looking at things, right? And whether you do like we do, where we will buy a group of lawnmowers together from another competitor, but they're overflow. We go to auctions. We buy through eBay. We buy wherever we can, but we also, there's a margin. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Friday, the 10th of October of 2025. So what are we talking about? All these margins and diamonds in the rough and what have you. It's if you're closed off where all you're doing is, you know, service and repairs and you order the parts as you need them and so forth, this probably won't apply to you because there's nothing wrong with it. That's You're keeping your balance sheet good, you're keeping your inventories low as needed. Nothing wrong at all with it. But if you're thinking, well, that's not enough, then maybe today's video is for you. What I'm talking about is more than once I've gone to a friend, competitor, that had taken in a lot of late model units as trades, which a lot of them aren't doing anymore. And he's got an overflow where it's just stuff he's not going to get to. He's too busy trying to floor plan and get his new stuff in front of customers. He doesn't want to have them take the eye off the ball and be looking at his used stuff. You don't want to push somebody towards used unless you know they can't afford new or you know they won't pass the credit check. That's a good reason to have the used. But for most dealers, they don't want a used piece in the yard. They don't want anything competing with the floor planning that they have going on. And if you're floor planning, are you making big money? Not really. You know, the more floor planning, the volume you do, the better the rates are and so forth of what you get back. But it's a hard racket unless you're in a really highly visible area, gets a lot of traffic, and being seen by the right people that want lawnmowers or snow blowers or what have you. What I'm talking about is what about going and buying up a bunch of their used mowers they have that are left over, and you're going to say, well, how do I buy them? Well, it's pretty simple. You go take a look and you see what they've got, and then you talk with the owner and say, okay, I see you have X number of machines out there. Where is the happy medium that you need to be at? And he may just say, take the damn things. Just get them out of my yard. I've had that happen before too. But with the price of scrap and everything else, you have scrappers that are willing to spend a little bit of money to get some money. And that's where my prices start, is just above scrap. Is it going to be, based my money on what I can see and hope for the best? No, not at all. For me, it's very methodical. I've been doing this long enough so that I can go take a one look at one lawnmower and tell you just about what I can get out of it and how long I'm going to sit on it, and is it worthwhile. And if it's a $200 lawnmower that I could sell for $400, but I had to sit on it all winter, and now I'm looking at probably should do a service on it in the spring before I put it up for sale. It's a no-brainer. It's not worth it. It's not, because now you've got a service involved, and now that brings your break-even point to sometimes going backwards. And a lot of people don't look at that, but the time you put in to use stuff to resell is still time. It's where you could have been doing something else, right? And we've talked about this as a side type thing of when things slow down in the shop and you don't have other work, throwing themselves on you. This is a good way to bank money that you can get back in the spring. What I look for are the $400 to $500 lawnmowers that I can sell for $800 to $900 without putting a lot of money into it. I do a service on everything before we sell it, but that's where my ballpark starts. I don't want the low end, the $200 or $300 ones, because by the time I do what I need to do to them, the margin's not there. Now, if you're not doing a service on anything else, I guess you can get away with it. But if you're what do I want to call it? A real deal shop, I can tell you right now, anybody that comes to buy that rider from you at your business is going to expect some kind of warranty. So for me, I just soon go ahead and have a service done on it, do a front to back, and look for any hidden dangers. Danger. That's kind of why I do it, is so that once I get it out on the line for sale used, I know that everything is up to snuff, or at least as close as it's going to get. And if there is something wrong with it, I tell the customer. I don't leave them in the dark, and I actually write it down on the bill of sale. This is what's wrong with it. You're buying it with this wrong with it. And it is what it is. That's fine. The other place to do it is auctions. And when I'm talking auctions, in our area we have probably, it's getting fewer and fewer, but usually 5-6 small engine repair shops being auctioned off. And usually it's the estate. It's one of us had passed on, and the family has left to look at our hoarding of over the last 20 years, and they're just like, we don't even know where to start. They don't know any value of anything. And anytime I'm asked by another family of a shop owner, I always tell them auction is the best way. And when you're doing auction, you're getting fair market value. And you want to have an auctioneer that has some idea of what he's selling, so that he knows kind of the net worth on it and stuff. But at an auction, you have, as long as you have two people there that are willing to bid against each other, it's wherever the gamble drops, right? And these are, at those times, I'm adding stuff to the inventory that I know I'm going to use. But you have to be careful. It's just like the last auction I went to, I bought quite a bit of stuff. And one of the things that I bought that I thought would pay off, but it hasn't yet, is belts. I've got belts up the yin yang. But the only problem is that they're whole sizes. They're 81s, 82, 83, 84. And as far as a machine calling for that belt are few and far between, okay? If you invested very much into that, now you're sitting on that as inventory that's not being moved. So what am I getting at? I'm getting at, don't invest in the stuff that you can't get rid of within that year. If you can see a potential of, let's say the guy's got 4 cases of oil filters for the Kohler engines, 3 cases for Briggs, and Honda. And how many cases do you normally go through in a season? That's what I look at. In the last auction that I was at, actually, because it was open to the public, I watched those oil filters go for higher than what I could buy them right through my dealers, the manufacturers. So why buy it at an auction when I can buy it brand new for less money? You can't get caught up with the auction. When you go to an auction, you need to already have a price in mind of what you're willing to pay, and that's no more. And you want to have justification for those prices when you show up at the auction. Not because I like it or I'm excited I'm bidding at an auction, or I might win. I'm doing it as a business. And a business means common sense, a level head, and keep your eye on the ball. We just got done going to another farm auction, and they had like 4 or 5 sets of brand new lawnmower blades. And one of my friends that was there said, "Eric, you're not buying those? So I know what they fit." Well, who cares? They're selling them for like $8 a piece. Yeah, and for maybe $1 or 2 more, I can bring them in brand new for the right machines that I am, pushing through the shop in a year. They could be 6 sets of blades to something that we never even see, or it's no longer available. eBay would be the only sales, and now that shipping is so expensive, especially anything that's got any kind of weight, it's kind of cost prohibitive to be shipping lawnmower blades unless you're shipping them direct from the manufacturer, right? But when you're looking at stuff, and if you get asked to go into another person's estate shop and they want you to buy them out, base your price on what you can see and not what you can't. You need to be able to take a look really quick and say, I can get my money back quickly because of this, and this. It's no different than taking a running lawnmower and saying, okay, with it just sitting there non-running, this is what it's worth. But if he turns the key and it starts, now it's worth a different amount. If he turns the key and it starts and he moves it frontwards and backwards, now it's worth a little bit more. And if he throws a mower blade into and everything sounds good, it's worth more. That's what I'm saying about buy it as you see it. If it's a group of 4 or 5 lawnmowers and the shop owner or whoever it is doesn't even want to take the time to start them, move them, or anything like that, then they shouldn't expect to get much for them. Because at that point, if I'm looking at that group of 5, I'm looking at just above scrap price. And I always get asked this, well, what do you offer me? I'm not in the business of buying and selling. I do both, but if I'm here and you're looking to sell those, you need to have a price in mind. And if it's too high or it's not close to what my number is, then I'll simply, walk away. I won't waste your time. And a lot of times they'll throw out this stupid number to start off with, and it's kind of like, no. And they can see me once they say it. And I'm already turning head the other direction. And they say, well, what do you counter with? How do you counter a $200 machine that they think is worth $1,000? There's no sense of insulting someone. If someone says, what's the very best price you can give me on all 5 of those, then I'll come back at $1,000 for 5 of them, but not for 1 of them. That's not unless you show me that it starts, runs, drives, moves, cuts is the way it should. You know, I've gone to auctions where they would start the piece of equipment, but they wouldn't move it and they wouldn't try the mower deck on it. They would just start it up and shut it off. And they want you to bid on it. All right, so the only thing I'm bidding on is that the friggin' thing starts and runs, but that's as far as moves and mows, who knows? So that's where my buying is going to be, is on that engine. You know, where do I want to be with it? And again, this day and age, unless it's a really nice V-twin, scrap price. So in the comments, let me know what you guys think of this. And are you stocking up stuff in the off season? Are you bringing in pieces of equipment and working on it to be resold in the spring of the year? And where's your magic number? See, the higher the number that I'm willing to give, because I want to double my money. And when I say double my money, I don't mean cash I'm making twice on it. I'm saying if I buy for $500, I'm going to sell it for $1,000, but I got $500 invested in it, and then I got another $150 invested in it for a service to have it come through the shop. And then I'm going to sit on it for the next 4 months, 5 months, until, you know, springtime, where people start looking for those lawnmowers again. So on that note, you guys have a great Friday. We'll catch you here bright and early Monday morning. I got my grandson coming in tonight, and he and I are going to sit in one of the huts for his buck only this year for a youth hunt. He could take a doe if I allowed him, but I want to see him shoot a buck. And there's bucks down there. I did the mowing down there, the second cut last week. And when I went in the field, there were 2 spikes, 1 crotch, and looked like an 8-point that were all down there munching on the grass. So they're there and right in front of the hut. Let me know in the comments what you think of today's topic and where you could see. And then let me add with the Kevlar and the rubber belts. What's the difference? The Kevlar has strands in it, all right? The rubber belts, they're good if you need something that has give, okay? Where the Kevlar is better for like mower decks, drive belts, and all that, where it's under a lot of high temp, high everything on it. What's the best investment? I go with Kevlar. You know, for almost all the lawn and garden needs that we have. You guys enjoy your Friday.